It's just showing the logo right now. It hasn't gone live. The chat's working. There's people chatting in there.
I think it's going pretty well.
Hey, can y'all hear me any better with this or no? It's still the same.
Same exact thing. It may even sound worse.
What about now?
Same.
You got your Apple headphones?
I don't. I left them at work. I forgot today was Wednesday.
No worries.
Uh-oh. No, nothing. Just going to sit this here during the podcast.
Yeah, on my end it says waiting for Go Mean Green. Yeah, it's just the logo. Okay, when you go to videos, it has a live now. Okay, here we go. There it is. Now I got it. Okay, cool.
What'd you do?
Go to videos at the top of the YouTube screen instead of going to the main page where it says home. Go to videos, and you'll be able to see the live feed.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm telling everyone in the chat room. Yep, the videos is live, so we're good on that. That'll kick them out, but they can find it. I'm going to update the address on Go Mean Green. Okay. Just FYI, Ivan, there's a delay on the YouTube feed, just so you know.
There's always been a delay there, right?
Okay.
That's
good.
Yeah. That's nothing new yet.
Okay. All right. Now we're ready. late or too early, you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. On this team, we fight for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know that's the difference between winning and losing.
Mean in the green. It's right here for you.
That's football, guys.
Go Mean Green.
Welcome to the GoMeanGreen.com Barbershop
Same.
Podcast, dedicated to students, alumni, and fans that
Just
truly
speak up.
bleed green. Follow us on Twitter at GoMeanGreen and visit our website, GoMeanGreen.com.
Love that. Gotta love it, baby. Here we go.
Now, your hosts of the GoMeanGreen.com Barbershop Podcast, Evan, Harry, and Ashton.
So where to hit it? Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the 195th edition of the GoMeanGreen.com Barbershop Podcast. This is Evan.
This is Harry.
This is Ashton.
This is JD.
All right, guys, we are here to talk North Texas football.
Yes.
And we're here to talk about the win over Incarnate Word. So we are 2-0 for the first time in a long time.
Feels nice, man. I mean, it's been a long time since this has happened. 1994, if you can believe it, Evan. I think that's like about the same time you graduated, right? Or thereabouts.
I graduated in 97 from our lovely university.
Okay, I cut you out of 3 years, but come on. But anyway, I just think a win's a win. You know, being 2-0 at this point, heading into this Arkansas game, that's what we all wanted to see happen. And you're going to get some nitpicking about the running game and other things on the board, but all in all, that was a game that was never in question. Mason Feinberg again threw over 400 yards. A win's a win, and I thought they did it in impressive fashion.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, one of the things when you're a good team, if you want to be elite and you want to become a really good team, you need to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Graham, Harrell, and Seth were talking after the game, kind of walking back to the locker room, and Graham said it. And I think he told a couple of the other players too, going into the game. Incarnate Word is there to do one thing, and that's create some kind of crazy upset, or do something, to get in our heads or during the game to try to find some little advantage to win a game like that. They know they don't have much of a chance, but when you're a team that wants to elevate to the level that I think we're heading towards, you need to beat these teams, and you need to, not let things like Portland State happen. And I think that ever since that game, everybody's always got trepidation, and people were scared about SMU a little bit. And I even heard a couple people say that they were worried about Incarnate Word. I mean, why would you be worried about that game? And it's just because it's happened before, and this is North Texas. But I think it's time to start, shedding that mindset a little bit. And if we think that we're elite and we think that we're top of the list in Conference USA, then we need to handle these teams, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the weather and then the crowd, it was still a pretty good crowd for, Incarnate Word, and then the way with the weather was that day. But the team still came up, they weren't flat. And other than, 2 plays on defense, I mean, they dominated in all phases of the game from start to finish pretty much. Special teams, Cole stayed perfect. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives. And, coming out of a game like that with everybody still healthy, I mean, that was one of the best things.
Yeah, health is massive. You just want to go into that game. You want to take care of business, which we did. Stay healthy, which we did. Get some stats, which we did. Figure out things we need to fix and correct. Get some guys healthy, which we did. We sat some guys, and I think probably could have played if they were. If it was Arkansas, they might have played. That kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that all in all, it was exactly what it should have been. Yeah.
Yeah, I can address that one point, Evan, because if you listen to the coaches' shows at Rudy's last night, Dave Barnett asked that question about were you trying to get it? Why did you play him in the second half when the game was well in hand? And I love Seth Luttrell because he's just like, you know what? He was at 385 yards, and I was like, damn it, we're going to let him get 400 yards. So he just came right out and admitted that. Which I thought was pretty cool. But, he could have had 600 yards if you left him in the rest of the game. I mean, the guy's just having an amazing year. And, you can't, again, the quarterback position, if you're a North Texas fan, we've been battling that for years and years. To have a guy like this with this kind of talent, it's just a dream come true.
So one thing that I want to bring up before we talk about the rest of the team, I just want to talk about Incarnate Word, and I thought this was kind of funny. The quarterback for this Catholic college in San Antonio was Copeland.
John Copeland.
You know who he's related to, don't you?
Kenneth Copeland.
It is Kenneth Copeland. He came up to the stands when it was raining. I guess he didn't know that it was going to be raining because he didn't have a poncho or anything. But I see him walking up there, and I just watched that video where he talked about why they need a $60 million private jet for that whole thing that was controversial. And I see him walking up, and I'm like, why is he here in the rain on the North Texas side for this? And it started to click with the Copeland and everything. But their quarterback did struggle a little bit. And I think they were just, we've been in positions where we didn't have the talent and playing some really good teams. Now it's an opposite situation where we've got the talent, and playing Incarnate Word we're playing a team that doesn't have the talent. And, it was a pretty much dominating across the board. Our kicking game, did you really think after the struggle that you saw that was in Arkansas by Headland that he was going to come in and kind of dominate and do as well as he's done so far?
He's been top notch. I mean, he's been amazing. And this storyline heading into Arkansas is going to be, a lot of people on the board were talking about their dream scenario is that we win by a field goal. How cool is that? Because Arkansas basically, to my understanding, kind of walked away from Cole Headland. So he's been everything you could hope for and more. Super consistent, big leg. Just got to hope it continues as we go. But that's a great weapon to have going into conference play, much less Arkansas.
Yeah, it is a dream scenario, I guess. I don't, to be honest, I was talking to Cole last week about something, and I didn't even want to bring up the Arkansas game because I don't want to get in his head or anything like that. I didn't even want to, of course I wanted to ask him, hey, what's it going to be like to go back? And I decided not to because I think that's just kind of, I hope that, he's not overthinking this game because, if we do beat Arkansas, it'll probably be a close win, I would think, if we do pull it off. And, it might be a field goal or two. So I would like Cole to be in the right, headspace for that. But, I think that, he's been really good, and it's a really cool story, and having him, kick at the school where his dad's a legendary coach, it's great. He's been, I don't think it ended well there, but I also don't think that he's going to really talk about it too much I don't think he's here to crap on Arkansas at the same time. I think one interview I heard with him a while back with a reporter, he didn't say anything bad about him. He just said, he cherishes his time there and a lot of good friends there. So I think he's going to play it, the right way. Evan, if you're there, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I pushed mute. I forgot about that. So we can talk about a lot of stats. I know it was hard. Well, you were talking earlier. We can talk a lot about the stats because the stats were pretty crazy. It's hard to know exactly what they mean against a team like Incarnate Word, who's obviously recent with the football program. But as far as rushing first, we had 32 first downs. They had 12 total rushing yards. We had 153. They had 144. Is the lack of a rushing game going to hurt us somewhere down the road? I mean, obviously we're a throwing team, but is it going to hurt us?
I think not having a running game is not a good thing. But I don't think that we don't have a running game yet. I think there's a lot of new pieces in play. DeAndre Torrey and Easley are still new. I know that Easley didn't play last Saturday, but Nick Smith hasn't got the kind of start that I think you wanted Nick Smith to have. We lost one of the better players we've ever had at North Texas in Jeffrey Wilson. So I think that, there's some new pieces on offensive line, and I think that we're still figuring some things out. It's a point of emphasis for sure with Seth to get the run game going. I mean, of course. But I think that I think that it's detrimental, sure. I think it's going to get on track. But, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a good idea to have a failed running game heading into conference play.
What concerned me is we had a
Yeah.
rough running game against Incarnate Word. And I think from the rest of the games we're going to have, they're going to have a better running defense than Incarnate Word.
We didn't have a great running day, but we also scored in the red zone running the ball. So that's really kind of what I do care about the most. Like, if he's going to throw 60 yards to get down to the 10-yard line, and DeAndre Torrey or Evan Johnson or Nick Smith or whoever the hell can do it can punch it in from 8 yards out, 4 yards out, I don't care how he got down there.
All right, what about what did you guys see on defense against Incarnate Word before we talk about Arkansas? What did you guys see on defense? I mean, the defense seemed to be playing pretty good. It was another situation by the time the fourth quarter came around, we kind of had it in the bag and our guys were feeling, pretty loose about it, but defensive performance. Give me some of your thoughts, some of your highlighted players.
I mean, I think what stood out to me, and I mean, it was Incarnate Word, so we got to take it for what it was. I think this year, for the first time since Seth's been here, we have a defensive line that we can rotate. I mean, we've got 6 guys there that when you go to the second string or whatever you want to call it, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it, there's not a huge drop-off. I mean, when you go to Bryce English, Colvin, and them in the second group, I mean, they're still able to get pressure. And I think that's going to help, especially when we get into conference play when you're able to rest those guys and you're not having to rely on TJ and Rod and Hambone out there, for 75% of the game. So I think that's what stood out the most to me is you don't see a lot of drop-off when you go to that second unit.
I thought the first half was solid. I mean, they really couldn't do anything against us. And then I thought the second half we kind of fell into that where the second stringers get in and just don't perform as well. But all in all, I thought it was a good defensive effort. I mean, these are weird games. I've said it before, I wish we didn't play these games because it's so hard to gauge, how much of this is that we had a lot of second stringers and guys on the bench playing in the second half. And so all in all, I'd give the defensive effort a strong grade in this game.
So do you guys feel that, I mean, this was probably our easiest game that we have on our schedule. I mean, you could look at some of the other teams that aren't doing so well, but this was the easiest game. You start looking at the teams we have coming up, and let's don't talk quite about Arkansas yet, but there was a lot of performances in Conference USA that kind of make me wondering. Honestly, I'm not looking past Arkansas, but I'm a little concerned about that Liberty game. What they did to Old Dominion and then how they look this week, I'm a little concerned about Liberty. And there's a couple other teams in the conference that I'm looking down at wondering, what kind of game they're going to bring. And I don't think we are a good enough team that we can just discount anybody. There's going to be some solid games down the road, and we just don't know what everybody's going to. Old Dominion, I didn't think Liberty was going to beat them bad. So we've got Arkansas, and then we've got Liberty. We've got some things to think about. Anybody else surprise you in the conference before we talk about Arkansas?
I mean, I'm with you. I was disappointed to see. Well, I shouldn't say disappointed. I'm concerned about that Liberty game. And Old Dominion's not that good this year. Okay, that's just the bottom line. But still, I've always felt like that Liberty game was sort of a trap game because they are throwing lots of money into that program. They already have a beautiful facility there, indoor practice facility, awesome stadium. I never really understood that. Why did we take on Liberty, and we got rid of the Army game and everything else? But that's definitely a game, not to jump ahead of Arkansas because it's one game at a time, but that's a game that's a little concerning because they've got some talent on that team.
All right, so now go ahead, Ashton.
No, so you're concerned about Liberty, but not Arkansas?
No. I talked about other games based off the performances we saw this weekend. I wasn't looking past Arkansas. I just wanted to because of the games last week. So now we're moving past what everybody saw last week. Let's talk about Arkansas. A lot of people got to see the replay, saw how they did against Colorado. So what are we thinking is going to be what's going to be the toughest thing for us to overcome when we play Arkansas?
I mean, they're big. They're strong. They're, on the lines, the front lines. They're going to ram the ball right at us. I mean, Arkansas is down right now, but let's be honest. Arkansas is an SEC program, so they're recruiting at a higher level than G5 programs typically. So from a physical standpoint, they're going to be big and strong, bigger and stronger than any team will play this season.
I mean, they're an SEC school. I mean, that's all you have to say. Like, they could be Kentucky, and they're going to have, more horses than we will, so, theoretically. Or, so I don't – it worries me only because they're SEC school, but, they're I guess, down, whatever you want to call it. Chad Morris is a hell of a coach, and last time I checked, we hadn't beat Chad Morris yet. So – I'm not going to sit here. I think we've got a really good shot. I think we've got a better shot this weekend than we ever have at a Power 5 in the past years. And we actually show really well at Power 5 spots. Iowa last year, Georgia in 13.
Georgia. Yeah.
Georgia. Yeah, we show well. I mean, we were beating Iowa last year at Iowa. And that's not hard to play this game. It's just, can we compete with the kind of depth? You assume that Arkansas is going to have way more depth. So that's obviously concerning, but I'm optimistic. I think it's going to be really fun, and I think it's really going to show us what we can do, because I think I walked away from the Iowa game last year thinking, we hung with a Big Ten team that can run it down your throats. We will, because they're an SEC school.
Saw first plays, they played Western Illinois or something. I don't remember who they played. They played somebody that they should have won, and they did. But Colorado State's 1-2. They beat Arkansas, but they had lost to Hawaii 34-43, and they lost to Colorado 45-13. So they had lost against a Hawaii team that's, it's always hard to judge exactly what Hawaii's got. And then Colorado is up and down too, but they're usually a pretty good program. So when you look at that, it's really still hard for Arkansas to see what exactly they've got because of that. Obviously, they're still considering a rebuilding year. All their fans are going, yeah, it's a rebuilding year. We're still trying to get there. We got a ways to go, but they are in the SEC. So for our defense, is for those that don't know, is Arkansas a throwing team, running team, or a good combination?
So Arkansas is in a transition right now. They had a running sort of a Big Ten coach, Brett Bielema, who came in there and started to try to really push the running game. And so they've got a point of transition to Chad Morris, who's more of a spread type, what we saw when he was at SMU, which highlights what everyone's saying tonight is, man, if you're ever going to catch an SEC P5 opponent, this is the perfect time, because when they're in that transition from a big running game to a wide open spread offense, there's going to be, some growing pains. So now I think Chad Morris is trying to move them in more of an open passing direction, but the personnel that they have there is not yet fitting his system, if that makes sense.
I think it's – go ahead, Evan.
No, I was just going to say, so the defense is going to obviously have their toughest battle against a running game. That's going to be see if they can shut down the running game this week.
Yeah, Arkansas's got a running back named Whaley he's a stud. I mean, he's big. He can run. He's the best running back we'll play potentially this year other than Singletary at FAU. So the test is going to be right off the bat. They're going to run the ball down our throats and try to set up the play action. And we've got to stop the run because if not, it's going to be a long day.
And Chad Morris is the kind of coach that he's going to use what he has and he's going to find a way to take advantage of that. I mean, it's not like when he was at Clemson, they didn't run the ball. They had stud running backs when he was at Clemson. You know, they had track meet. It was like watching a track meet at Clemson. And a lot of those times, those guys were running backs back in the day. So I think Harry's right. They're in a transition for sure. I think that Chad's going to eventually become a pretty spread throwing team in Arkansas, but I also think he knows where he's at, and he's in the SEC West, and I think he's going to want to establish a running game while he's at Arkansas, and he's going to be able to get big backs like, the Alex Collins type backs, the guy that graduated, 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever. He's in the NFL now. But, I think that's, if he has that kind of guy, like, the guy that Harry talked about, Whaley, if he's that, he's going to run the ball, and he's going to keep running the ball until they realize that they can't run the ball very well, and then he's going to start trying to throw the ball. But it's going to be a transition. I think they're going to try to – if I had to guess, I think that they're going to try to pound the ball and wear us down because in our game last year, that's – that can hurt us. We can get worn down, but we're deeper this year. So, he know it's not like he doesn't know what he's playing. He's playing against North Texas. He's played us, 3 years in a row, 2 years under Seth. So he knows what he's doing.
All right, how's our offense going to look against their
games? But they are getting some defensive backs. I think there's 2 that's supposed to be coming back this week that missed last week. So that's going to help them out in that front. I don't see our running game having a breakout week this week. I think if we win, it's going to be on Hines' arm. That's just
that's how we're going to win every week, in my opinion, right? We're not going to win it because we're going to be jamming the ball down somebody's throat. I think we're going to win it because we're a big play offense.
Right? Yes, but I do think towards the end when we get to UTSA and them, I think DeAndre Torrey and those guys are going to get figured out. They're still young.
Oh, yeah.
I think as the season goes along, the running game's just going to naturally get better. The more the offensive line plays together and the more the running backs kind of, figure out their stuff.
Harry's throwing us emojis right now on the Skype. That's pretty cute.
I was just playing around with it. Sorry about that.
All right, so he
loved that comment, Jordan. He loved it.
We were started out the week at 7.5 point dogs. Now we're down 7. Are you surprised that they're favored by 7? I guess, how many points did they say come off the whole field advantage? 6, right? 3? Okay, so 3. So less than a touchdown, basically a field goal. Do you guys feel that that's a pretty good line for what we've done so far?
Yeah, I think that if you got the odds makers are gonna watch a team that walks in that's our offense has been killing it first 2 games. Again, one's against Incarnate Word, so I don't know how much you want to take that in consideration, but they're looking at a quarterback that's walking in that's throwing over 400 yards a game, and 2 stud receivers that are really good. And if we had a back that was doing like what Jeffrey did last week or last year, we'd probably only be favored by, or they'd be favored by only like 4 points. So, because they're, like you said, they're in a transition year. I don't think Arkansas is going to be great this year.
Right. So let's talk about keys to the game. What we really need to see. I'll tell you the first thing that I got to see is one thing we're seeing out of this team that we haven't always seen before is a fast start. We've got to score pretty early and get that rhythm on offense. Previous years, sometimes we had a slow start and we were coming back, and it's really tough to do against good teams, especially like an SC team like Arkansas. So for me, I want to see a fast start from the offense. I want Mason flinging it down the field, whether it's we seem to have more across the middle passes that are good or down the side. those ones out in the flats, they just don't seem to be as productive years. But I want to see a lot of that early and definitely scoring on the first drive. So what else do you see? Harry, tell me some of your keys that you want to see this week.
I mean, we're obviously the strength of Fine is the mid-range passing game. What's going to be interesting is to see how Arkansas tries to take that away. And what I mean by that is Arkansas would love to sack Fine, but if we're throwing quick passes, it's hard for them to do that. So there's kind of this, how many guys do we put in the box mentality that Arkansas is going to have going to this game. To me, if we can get some big plays early, it's going to open up the entire field. And the risk with that is you get Fine sacked, you get Fine hit. But to me, if we can see a couple big plays early in the game, long passes, to me that's a good sign for the rest of the game. In terms of opening things up and allowing us to do more with the offense.
Yeah, I think that one of the things I'm going to be really looking for is our secondary. I want to take away as much of the passing game as we possibly can. If they want to jam it down our throats, fine. But I think a key is going to be Keemon and Nate need to have good games, because if we do force them in the passing situations, I want to be able to, I want our secondary to be able to lock down some guys and really stop. If we get them into third, because I think that when a team's in transition, they're going to have some weird offensive moments. So if we get them into 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, occasionally, I don't want them to be able to throw the ball just to get a first down like that. And that's a lot of times what SMU kind of shredded us apart with. They would just shred us on defense. Or in the air, on defense. So I'm one of my keys, or one of my main keys from the defense side of the ball, is our corners got to play well.
All right. What about you, Jay?
I'm going to pull us out the trail here. We got to win the explosive play battle. I mean, that's, if you think about our defense, that's almost all those scores on us so far this year have been like 35, 40-yard plus touchdown runs. I mean, we can't have that happen in this game. And then we've got to have some explosive plays on our own, I think, and then slow their run game down. I mean, I don't think this Arkansas is near as good as Iowa last year, and I think we held our own. So I like our chances, but we've got to stop the explosive plays, that's for sure.
Yeah, if we can just stop, just basically to piggyback on what JD said, if we can stop giving up big runs kind of demoralize us sometimes. Like, they'll run the ball up the gut and all of a sudden the guy's gone, and SMU did it. It was like, oh, whoa. It's like we got to limit some of those plays where we have that mental lapse on defense. There's an exploited hole and some guy's gone because the safeties are taking terrible angles, and then he's running right up the gut. It seems to kind of always be an up the gut thing. At least I might be wrong about that. I'm sure somebody will correct me. But I feel like that's what I see sometimes, and that kind of demoralizes us a little bit. I think when we give up big runs, it actually hurts us more than a big pass does. I mean, Keemon got burned against SMU for that, their first touchdown. That was I think they caught the ball like the 5 or 6 yard line or something like that. And the defense kind of got up and kind of shrugged it off, like, okay, we got it, and everything. And it wasn't a touchdown, so that helped a little bit. But when it's a big long run and we can't catch the guy with the football and he's running away from us, I feel like that really gets in our defense's head and just kind of demoralizes us.
I mean, I know we've only played SMU and Incarnate Word, but I mean, like you said, last game we gave up like 140 yards rushing. Well, over 2/3 of that was on two rushing plays, and I mean, you can't. If Incarnate Word can do that, you can't let Arkansas do that, or they'll do it all game.
And that's a good point that Ashton brought up. It's very demoralizing, and then you see those long runs right up the middle. You're like, how did that just happen? We should be better on the line.
Because you know it's a stupid mistake. A scheme mistake or a gap, or you just filled the wrong hole, and you're like, dude, that was all of FAU last year. I mean, Singletary's a great back, but that really bad game, the abortion game, that was just like, it was just Singletary all of your faces.
This is wrong, man.
Thanks for just throwing that in there.
Hey, well, sorry, it is what it is. I was there firsthand. It was bad. Harry gave me the crying face emoji, so I know it's bad. But it was like Singletary up the middle, and I swear, if it was an 80-yard pass, that would have been better. Than that 60-yard run where we don't even touch a running back. I mean, that's just insulting,
So
You're right.
Hey, I want to bring up another thing that was brought up by Jared and several others in the chat room. They've got a quarterback situation in Arkansas that seems to be, kind of divided. Nobody's really knows what to do. They don't have confidence in really either one of their quarterbacks right now. How does that going to play into, an advantage to us?
Go ahead, Harry.
No, I mean, it's huge advantage. We have a quarterback we have complete faith in that's one of the best in the country, and they're struggling to find out who's going to start.
It's so nice to be on the other side for once.
I mean, for once in our life, it's not McNulty, it's Mason Fine, and everybody loves him. And
you threw out McNulty. Of all the quarterbacks, you went to McNulty. That's the best part.
Well, I mean, I don't mean that. I like McNulty. I know McNulty.
I know.
What Harry's saying is we've always had that backup quarterback. Maybe the backup's better than our starter. Maybe we give him a shot. Maybe we give Hiram the third string. Maybe we give him a shot because there's got to be something better. And we're finally in a position where no, we just want him to stay safe. We don't want anybody. We played a third string quarterback this past week because the second string played enough. We just saw all
fourth string.
We had a fourth string out there. I didn't even know that.
Got some throws in there, man. I love it.
Okay, do you know how many receivers? Do you know how many receivers caught a ball last week for North Texas?
38.
14. We had 14 people make a catch. I'll tell you what I was excited to see was Michael Lawrence back in the mix because the first game against SMU, he caught 4 for 50 yards. It was good to see. He's always got solid hands. I was happy to see him on that. And of course, Rico Bussey out there. But we need to continue to see a lot of people, catching the ball from Mason.
Jalen Darden and Mike Lawrence have to have big games at Arkansas, I think, as well. That's going to be a key because if the running game is kind of slow to move or we're not getting enough push or their D-line is just an SEC D-line that's playing up to par and just kind of, out-muscling us or out-athleting us, whatever. Get a guy like Jalen Darden who hates getting tackled. Like, he hates going down. Like, the guy is shifty, he's wiggly, he squirms out of every time. I swear every time he gets tackled, it's never one guy. It's like 3 dudes. Yeah. And, I've heard Seth say it on the sidelines, like, let's just out-athlete their ass. And maybe, we find that we exploit a matchup. Like, maybe Mike can get a linebacker that's slow and just burn by him. And maybe Jalen can get a nickel back that is a little bit thicker and isn't as shifty, and Jalen can slip under him. And maybe we'll find those things. And I've got confidence in Graham and Seth that they're working up some ideas to try to find ways to get some of our guys in space, because now that we have these 2 stud receivers, it's gonna start opening things up. I mean, Rico, we all knew he was good, but really mid-season last year is when he started really becoming a guy. It was Jalen Guyton that was the big name. And then everybody's like, oh, damn, this Rico guy can play. So you have to start preparing for that guy. And now that we've got teams that have to pay attention to Guyton and Rico, you've got these 2 dudes in the middle that can really exploit some, and then Kelvin. And we like Kelvin. He's just, needs to get some more wheels.
How exciting is it to see the pregame and you look up there and they're introducing all the players and it's sophomore, junior, sophomore, freshman.
Are they saying it like that?
Junior. They say it exactly like that. And to realize that this basically pretty much the same team we will see again next year. This is the best time to be a North Texas fan in a long time, for looking to the year you're in, sitting at 2-0 and knowing you're going to have the same team next year with the start like this, seeing what we had last year and the progression. This is about as good as it's ever going to get.
Yeah, it's a nice time.
Well, hey, here's something
juniors,
they're talking about in the chat room right now, but it's like, and not to get ahead of ourselves, sorry, not politically correct, not doing coach speak there, but say we beat Arkansas,
Oh, boy.
Don't,
Here we go.
no.
I'm going to do it.
No.
We beat Arkansas. Guess what? This team could go undefeated this season.
You just said you
guys.
were worried about Liberty, really worried about Liberty. And now if we beat Arkansas, we're going to run the table?
I'm just saying, when's the last time a North Texas fan could project that as a possibility? And
Harry, you
it
just
absolutely is.
You got to enjoy the moment. I mean, our coach is on Jim Rome today talking about our junior quarterback who's on the Davey O'Brien list. Like, we just got to enjoy it. Don't know undefeated talk.
Just, yeah, man. Like, it's hard to go undefeated in the NCAA football. I mean, it is damn near impossible. Now, I mean, it doesn't happen often. I know a team did it last year, but, I don't ever want to hear that crap. Especially when you just said you were worried about freaking Liberty. Now we're going to talk about being undefeated. Stop it.
I'm just saying, it's not out of the realm of possibility. If we had talked about this in years past, it would have been, people would have laughed you out. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, it's the first time that we've ever said that we have a shot to beat, a legitimate shot to beat an SEC team, and that's the toughest point of our schedule 3 games in. I think that's a good, safe thing to say. We 2-0. I mean, look how long. It's so ridiculous. I kept pulling up that stat. The last time North Texas was 2-0. That was crazy when you think about it.
When's the last time we were 3-0? Trivia.
Okay, that's another question. I don't know. I was going to look up my media.
1989.
Was it 89?
1989, we were 3-0.
Damn.
That was a long time ago.
It was the last time. I mean, to be honest, when I started looking into it, I actually thought it would be longer than that. Just because we start the year off with good teams. So I mean, I thought.
Well, in the part you're leaving out, Ashton, is UAB doesn't look as good as they were supposed to be, and FAU doesn't look as good. The world beaters that they were last year. So maybe there's a little more of opportunity for us to do better in conference this year.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're not going to do well in conference. I'm just not going to sit here and talk about going undefeated.
All right, so let's 94.
That's my only thing.
The 94 season when we went 2-0. In 1994, we beat Abilene Christian. I remember this year. We beat Southwest Missouri. That was quality.
Tech State.
Then we lost to Montana, 17-21. But do you remember
Juggernaut.
Well, no. Well, hold on. Before you start getting all goofy here, do you know who we lost the following week by 2 points? Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yeah.
Yeah, we lost 36-34 against Oklahoma State. That was a good season. I mean, obviously, that's the one-armed defensive back that beat us at Boise State. Everybody remembers that. But that was, and then 89, when you talk about 3-0, these weren't really quality. Abilene Christian, Murray State, and Arkansas State before losing to Kansas State by 3 points. So I think this would be, if we could beat Arkansas, that would be probably the most quality 3-0 run that I can see going back to the 70s. I mean, that's good stuff. I mean, really it is.
Great stuff.
And it's hard to believe that that's where we'd be. Actually, I don't even see the Hayden Fry years. We had a loss in there early on. I'm not going to go back to the 60s. It's been a long time. Oh, in 66, Otis Mitchell led us a 4-0 start. New Mexico State, UTEP, Louisville, and Tampa. Tampa?
Otis with a D.
Tampa. We beat Tampa 41-6 in 1966.
What the hell is Tampa?
I don't know, but they had a team. We beat them. That year
Buccaneers.
we lost to Drake that year. And
That's
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You don't hear in college football, Tampa.
No. And we played Drake the same year.
It's like Pacific.
We lost to Drake.
Well, Pacific's where Michael the Candyman went to Pacific, though. Come on.
Wow. So this is a good time, obviously, in the last 50 years to be a North Texas fan. All right, what else, guys? Do we have any predictions for this weekend?
I don't want to predict anything.
I hate predictions on a game like this because you just want to have a good showing.
You don't want to be that.
I think we have a real good shot to win, though. I mean, we're only 7-point dogs right now. So, I mean, to me, that's anybody's ball game. But I'm really hoping for a North Texas win, man. We need this one. I envision the high of being 3-0, beating an SEC team, and it's like that's a place we haven't gone as a program, for as long as I've been following this, because we always, under Dickey and Dodge, we always had the body bag game early on. It was like, if we can just have a good showing, this is a game we go into and feel like we can win. And so I would love to see them do it.
Oh, I agree. I'd love to see him do it. I love to be 3-0. That would be pretty awesome from the program. And we'd be in a situation where after we play them, we have obviously the Liberty game, and then coming back to North Texas when they're doing the whole groundbreaking for the indoor practice area, as well as the statue for Mean Joe. I mean, there's a lot of things that would line up nicely. And if Mason comes with the game that he's brought these first two games, the intensity, and we see that sideline intensity and sideline enthusiasm that we have, that we've seen, then we should be able to put a strong showing and be able to win this game. So, all right, anything else, guys?
Yeah, the only thing I want to mention that I haven't mentioned already is watch out for the refs in this game. The SEC is notorious in their non-conference games. These refs could really make a big difference in this game, and we have to bake that into our performance, because we're not going to get any of the calls. That's just the bottom line. I'm telling you right now. Last time we played in Arkansas, it was the same deal. And what I mean by that is, they're going to let holds, they're going to allow holds to happen on long runs. They're going to, be a little bit more, they're not going to give this game to North Texas from an official standpoint. So that's something to keep an eye on this game, especially early on.
All right. Well, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, I believe, isn't it? Yeah. 3 p.m. our time. It's a good afternoon game. It's a good time. We don't usually have a lot of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. They're usually later. So this is going to be a good time and a good game. For those of you that aren't going to Arkansas, there's a lot of watching parties, and you look on the board, you'll see they're hosting them. I know Collin County is having their usually well attended and well known.
Dots. Don't forget about Jeff's place. Dots in Deep Ellum is going to be doing it too.
Jeff will be at the game.
Yeah, I'm saying, but he posted that Dots is having a watching party.
So there'll be several. So at that time of the day, usually
the Alumni Association is like, what is it? Larney's or anyway, the Alumni Association. It's some kind of Irish place, but anyway, check out the board. They're all listed there in a thread.
Yeah, they're all on the board. You can do that. Make sure, watch it with some North Texas fans. Get out there, especially if you haven't ever attended one of the watching parties. It's a great way to meet some people. And then if you find out you're both on the board, you'll probably find out that you argued with them about something stupid and ridiculous over the summer, and then you can come together and break bread. So just try to do that and enjoy yourselves. We will be back the week after the Arkansas game. The schedule might be fluid. It might not be the regular Wednesday night due to some scheduling conflicts, but we will schedule it on the YouTube page. So if you subscribe to our new YouTube webpage, you will see it pop up and give you advance notice by several days of when it's going to happen. And this will be the first week for those of you that would rather listen to it. Obviously, you're listening to this at the end of the thing, but from now on, going forward, we will also have an MP3 on iTunes of this podcast, different version. So with that, we will go ahead and end this broadcast. Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.
Live.
Yeah, that's right.